welcome to Coffee with Jesus. I'm your host, Sara Van Driel. Right before Christmas, I came to you in my last podcast with a prayer for peace. And today, I'm coming to you with a plea for love. I got to thinking about how I come to my thoughts and what I share on these podcasts. And it really comes from listening to all kinds of things that happen over the course between when we connect on these podcasts. This one starts with the Epiphany church service that my family and I watched together, snuggled under blankets on our couch in the living room. The message of the service was twofold. One, as an epiphany, looking for the star to follow, as the wise men did to follow Jesus, and what it's like to kind of have a star, to be following that kind of light. And the second was a little bit more applied to how do we find our star in what we do. Some people choose to have kind of a word of the year, and the message was maybe God has a word for you. So when you don't get to see it and pick it up, what might that word be? Well, it sparked discussion amongst the three of us piled up on the couch. And as is often the case, our 10-year-old has really profound things to teach me. And she says, well, I had to write an essay at school on what my goal or word of the year was. She said, I cheated a little bit. It's not just one word. But of course, we were very curious. What's your word? What did you write about this year? And her words were lead in love. It resonated so much for all three of us. This concept of leading in love. So that's where it starts. And then I start to dig into scripture. Then I start to think about being grounded. What does it mean to lead in love? So in Matthew 22, verses 36 through 40, Jesus is asked, Teacher, what is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. So we know this. We've heard this. We are grounded in this. We first have to love the Lord our God. So in the love, have the truth of knowing that we're grounded to God with all our heart, all our souls, and all our minds. And the second is to love our neighbors as ourselves. But what does that look like? So then I have to delve a little bit further. And I go to some of the most famous scriptures on love. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 8. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. So I wanted to dig a little bit further into that. So I went backwards in the chapter just a little bit to hear more about what Paul is trying to convey. So if we step back to the 1 Corinthians 13, verses 1 through 3, he's giving this message directly after speaking with the Corinthians about having unique gifts, that God has given us each unique gifts. Different parts of the body function together. And here's what he says in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 1 through 3. If I speak in tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but do not have love, I have gained nothing. And when we go to the end of the chapter of 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 13, we hear this. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. Realizing that when we step back and say the reason for all of this is to do what we do in love, when we lead in love, then it changes the focus on why we've done all of this. There's so many times, so many opportunities here for being angry. But when we step back and think about love being patient, love being kind, love not being proud, love not being about being boastful, but really about loving God, trusting His truth with all our hearts, minds, and souls, and that we love our neighbors, and the opportunities become bearable. They become an opportunity for growth and connection. My plea: let all you do be done in love. Lead with love. Lead for love. Lead in love. Until next time, when we'll share further, live out your words in action and in truth, in prayer and contemplation for how you can lead in love.